studios in New York City. This is Charlie Rose.
Maestro Gustavo Dudamel is here. Sir Simon Rattle of the Berlin Philharmonic once called him, quote, the most astonishingly gifted conductor I have ever come across. He is the music director of his beloved Simon Bolivar Symphony Orchestra of Venezuela. He also leads the Los Angeles Philharmonic. Here he is performing Mahler's First Symphony with the LA Philharmonic. He is in New York to lead the Bolivar Orchestra at Carnegie Hall as part of a festival called Voices from Latin America. He's also dedicated to furthering musical education and social justice around the world. I am pleased to have Gustavo Dudamel at this table for the first time.
Thank you. It's an honor, Charlie.
Oh, my pleasure.
Huge honor.
We've been wanting to do this for a while and tried. Tell me about the music you have selected for the performance.
Yes, this is a festival called Voces de América,
yeah,
here in New York. And we decided to bring, this amazing music that we have, this very Latin, in a way, folkloristic, but very deep music by Estévez, by Villalobos, by Ben Secri, Orbon, Carlos Chavez, Revuelta. So, for us it's very important to show the soul of our music also to play Beethoven, Brahms, Strauss, Mahler, but especially, our music.
Yeah. Tell me about the music of Venezuela.
Well, look, what we are bringing is the Estévez Cantata criolla.
Yeah.
That I think is the most important piece, right, in Venezuela by Maestro Estévez. It's a piece for a big choir, two soloists, a tenor and a baritone, huge orchestra. You can feel what is about our culture, the horse, the importance of the land, of the place, of the terraplane, or the, the big rivers that connect not only Venezuela, that connect Venezuela with Colombia, with Brazil.
Right.
It's amazing.
Do you feel some sense of responsibility because of the position you hold now around the world to introduce the world to Latin American music?
Absolutely, of course. But look, for us the most important thing is to put our music in the same level of, of importance, of as is Beethoven, as is Debussy, as is Ligeti or Nono, especially talking about modern composers, because when we talk about our music, we are talking about music of the 20th century.
Yes.
Especially 20th century, Villalobos, Estévez, Orbon. And that is the important thing. Can you imagine? I was thinking this is all new music for many people.
Yes, exactly.
It's all music. The concerts are sold out. It's something very special because people are coming, with this kind of question, with this kind of what we will listen. But I think at the same time, they think that will be something very special.
Yes.
And for us, the most important thing is not, of course, it's the orchestra, is from where are coming, but the music. Yeah. How important is this music, to bring this music for people that are not close to that?
How was it El Sistema? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
How was it founded?
It was founded by Maestro José Antonio Abreu.
Right.
In 1975, I think. Started as a program for young musicians. We had a great orchestra in Venezuela, this Orchestra Sinfónica de Venezuela.
Right.
Venezuelan Symphonic Orchestra
right.
would be the translation. But was only one orchestra. Was not possible for the young students to build a life through music. Was only to study music and to see the possibilities to have a job, by a miracle, really by a miracle. And what Maestro Abreu did was to create this youth orchestra.
Yes.
And it was a dream, look, because it was crazy for many people. It was a crazy guy bringing young people, Venezuelan, to play classical music. He started with 11, and he thought, oh my God, what is this about? Only 11 musicians. At the end, he has 70. And when they play the first concert, they have 120 musicians. That now, after almost 40 years, we are talking about 400,000 young children, people.
Do you take special joy in either conducting or playing and introducing music to young people?
I think for me it's the most important thing. It's the most important
to make sure that they...
Because, this is my background. I grew up in el sistema. I was 5 years old when I started, but I always say that I started before because my father started in el sistema years before, in the 70s. And music was around my life all the time. It was like, I think it's the, I don't know how to say, but what I remember, to remember when you are 2 or 3 years old is very difficult, but what I remember the most is music. Is my father study trombone or studying solfege. And then I wanted to be a musician and studying with, children of my same age, doing music, playing. It is my life, and that is why for me it's so important to give the message of the power of music for young and for children.
But do you feel like you chose music or music chose you?
I was in love with music. I didn't understood anything, really. But I love it to listen, and I love it to read. When I was 3 or 4 years old, I remember a little book of my father, Solfege of Solfege, Solfeo de los Solfeos.
Right.
Small book. The smell was amazing, I remember. The smell of the book. And I was opening, and I was reading these black, white things there. And my father saw that, wow, we have to do something with this. Not only with the smell of the book, but also with the...
And how long after that did you say, what I really want to do is conduct?
Well, this part of my life is really funny because I wanted to play the trombone as my father was playing. But the trombone was too big for me. And my arm was too short. We didn't have a small trombone. Now you get the chance to have an alto trombone and you can play.
But on such matters, music changes. Your size did not lend itself to the trombone.
No, and I was studying theory, harmony, contrapoint, solfege, aesthetic of music, all of that, even composition, until I was 9 years old, 8. And no, because I started to play the violin when I was 9. But I went to my first concert when I was 7 years old. And my father was playing, I remember, the program was Sherazad by Korsakov. And for me it was like, wow, what is this guy doing there, moving his hands and everything.
In command, too.
Exactly.
Sitting there and all of these musicians.
Exactly, following, giving all of them. I asked my grandmother for a gift for my birthday. That was a baton.
A baton?
And she bought for me. And my favorite game was to conduct the recordings. I remember an LP of... Chicago Symphony, conducted by Daniel Barenboim, LP, beautiful, with all Tchaikovsky music, Slave March, Capriccio Italiano, 1812, all of that. And I was rehearsing, I was stopping the recording to say, this is loud, let's go down. Again, I destroyed the LP, I remember, but I was giving my concerts with my little toys there in front. And that was the beginning. It was a very serious game. I remember that
you took it seriously.
You cannot imagine. You cannot imagine how serious it was. It was silence in my house. Yeah. My house was, I don't know, 45 square meters. Yes. I don't know. There were living my uncles, my grandparents, my parents. But it was a beautiful atmosphere. And I was saying to them, you have to sit now and you have to listen my concert, or you have to stop because I'm rehearsing now. And that was my life. Really, I was dreaming, after school to go back to home and to get my toys and to do my rehearsals until I was 11 years old, and the conductor of the orchestra where I was playing, the Amadeus Chamber Orchestra, he was late. This was a youth children orchestra, and he was late, and, well...
There you were.
Exactly, imitating. Because we started that rehearsal, I was imitating famous conductor and local conductors. Yeah. Karajan, Bernstein, and then Maestro is, he's like this. And then we started to work, and I became... assistant conductor immediately of this orchestra.
This is from a wonderful piece that Bob Simon did for 60 Minutes, showing you conducting a youth orchestra in L.A. During a practice. Here it is.
On Saturdays, all the kids get together in an orchestra. The day we were there, so is Gustavo. He's been conducting youth orchestras back in Venezuela since he was 13 and has his own way of getting musicians to understand the music.
What do you want to play first? Let's do Gypsy, okay? And one, and... No. Good, but in tempo and together. La, la, re, fa, fu, la, la, tuta. It's like a man talking to a girl, La, la, re, fa... No, re, ro, re, mi, no, yara, no, sol, fa, sol, la, maybe, okay?
Almost none of these kids knew anything about classical music before they came here. What Gustavo knows is that the program does a lot more than teach music. It builds character, discipline, and teamwork, and it keeps kids off the streets.
It's how we started, I remember this Gypsy overture. We play as I play as a child. And it's amazing because to see the transformation of these children, not because the rehearsal, is because the power of music, how can change a life. And what you cannot see there is the parents, the families around, sitting. And they were, it was approval all the time. Yes, no, yes. They were like, my God, it's something magic what is happening, and that's it. Yeah. That is the music. That is the results of what is all of this idea about.
When you're conducting, what does your mind's eye see?
Difficult. Sometimes I'm thinking in many things when I'm conducting. And it's a very special kind of concentration. Yeah. I don't know. In general, I conduct by memory.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Why do you do it that way? Because...
Well, I don't think that it's a special talent. I think, conductors conduct really well and in the best way with the music in front. And some of the conductors, I'm not the only one, conducts by memory. But I feel more connected to the music. And I feel more, not only to the music, also connected to the musicians. And I don't know, sometimes it's crazy when I finish a concert and I think, well, I was thinking in this Sometimes I'm thinking in other pieces, but it's not an ability. It's something simple. It's the brain that works.
And does
like
it just happen, or are you thinking as the score is in your head? You know, this happens, and then this happens, and this happens, and this note, and then I bring in this section.
Yes.
Are you thinking all of those things, or does it simply, once you begin, it almost just flows out of you?
It's a structure of what you think. Of course, you are so concentrated, but the problem is not. It's not like you read a book and you know every word of the book. You know, it's not the way. It have to be very natural. Yesterday, you know, I was talking to a young conductor, and he was asking me, but
you mean as a conductor younger than you?
Yes, very young one, very talented, 16 years old conductor from Venezuela, and he was asking me, I'm having problems with this part because I cannot memorize, and I said, if you have a problem, then stop and see the things as a big structure, because you cannot memorize a piece, you know, in a pressure, you know, in like I have to, because this will be a problem. You will never memorize the piece. So rest. Sometimes you don't have to conduct the first time without the score, but with the time you are conducting with the music, you need less and less and less the score, and then you conduct by memory, and then it's like. The brain is a muscle, you know. It's like
it is.
You know,
it is.
You're
going to announce today a foundation.
Yeah.
What is the foundation?
It's to keep, you know, giving the message of music.
That we've been talking about.
Exactly.
The power and the message of
music. It's only to help to develop more the message. These programs of El Sistema happening in Los Angeles, in Raploch in Scotland, in Hammarkullen in Sweden, in Korea, in Italy, in Germany. Well, not only in Los Angeles, in the States also is happening a lot of programs inspired by El Sistema. It's only to help that, you know, to develop the idea of music as a human right.
Yes.
It's an utopia. Can sound like, wow, this guy is talking about something really crazy. But I think art have to be an element of the society to build a better citizen, a better human being. We are not talking about something new. We can go back, you know, in times, you know, when art was an element, an essential element of the man. And that is something that we need in this.
It speaks to who we are and what we want to become.
Exactly. Especially living in this very chaotic world, you know, where we have to build something better, something more sensible for.
When you accepted the job at the LA Philharmonic, why there?
Look, one of my first commitments was at Los Angeles after I won the competition, the Gustav Mahler competition in Bamberg. I remember Pekka Salonen invited me.
Yes, the then conductor.
Exactly, the music director at that time. And in 2005, I went there. And the second time was in 2006. I was conducting Bartók Concerto for Orchestra, Galanta Dances by Kodaly, and Fima Brosman was playing Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto. And I remember a group of the orchestra came to me. It was so beautiful because I was 25 years old. And they came and they said, wow, we love to work with you. We love for you to come more often to the orchestra. In a way, I think they were telling me, you know, we are thinking.
You would work. It would be a wonderful marriage between you and us.
And it was not difficult, the decision. I think Los Angeles is a very special place to build things, important things, in many ways. Community, the community is something very important. Look what is happening. I started to be the music director of the orchestra, and the first thing was Yola, the youth orchestra.
Right.
So amazing that for an orchestra like Los Angeles Philharmonic, you know, a legendary orchestra conducted by Giulini,
right.
by Meta,
right.
Salonen. Well,
right.
we are
right.
talking about
right.
an history. Giving the opportunity and thinking in the children, in the future of the community, building an orchestra inspired by El Sistema, that was something like, oh, thank you, wonderful, you know. That is to be visionary about what to do with what we do. Bringing a new audience. It's very important that we build the future audience, not only to do the, you know, the normal programming, like, well, no. We have a that is not created by me. It's coming from years ago, that is the Green Umbrella, for example, that is about new music. You cannot imagine how these concerts of complete new music are sold out.
Yeah.
So we are talking about a community that is hungry, you know, to have more and more. And I felt that in Los Angeles from the first time. Even my first concert was at the Hollywood Bowl, and there were, I don't know, 10,000 people listening the concert. Was not full, because it's for 18,000, but to see an audience of 10,000 people listening on a concert is a classical music concert.
Yes.
Well, it's something.
Yes, yes.
So that is the reason.
You heard what Sir Simon Rattle said in my introduction to you.
Well, that is not true.
But let's assume it is. What is it you have, you think? I mean, what distinguishes here from here? I mean, help me understand your own sort of understanding. That I'm not asking you to pat yourself on the back. I'm asking you to help us understand what it is that you have found within yourself to give.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Really.
You know, you're just being.
Look, I think. I think, you know, it's the love of what I do.
Yeah.
You know, and that is not a secret. You know, music for me is my life, and when I'm not, you know, doing what I'm doing, I don't feel happy.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and that means something. You know, that means that music is a very important element of my life, and a natural element. I think we are a new generation, and talking about young conductors, I'm not the only young conductor in the world. There are many talented conductors, you know, doing a great career right now. And I see more a big responsibility for us. I really, Charlie, I don't feel as an special person.
Right.
Honestly, I feel really that I'm a musician, and that I'm a part of the orchestra. I never feel that I'm the leader and I'm conducting to you and you have to follow me. No, I feel that I'm one more musician of the orchestra, and maybe that is something special that people feel. You know, that you know, it's not an element distracting the music and what the orchestra is doing. It's only an element.
And when we watch you with the baton, are we seeing what the music is doing to you at that moment? I mean, are you simply taking it in, and that's where the energy, and that's where clearly the direction comes from the score?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's the music. It's the music. It's the music, and I study a lot, really, and I'm studying
Study
all.
what? How do
Well,
you study?
scores. I love to go deeply in music.
When you study the score, what are you looking for? What is it that speaks to you?
What speaks to me? Well,
is it knowing where the composer's head was, what he was or she were thinking at the moment? Is it getting to what might have been at the moment that note was taken from this head and this heart and put there on that page?
You start to think from that point.
Yeah.
But at the end, remember that you are recreating.
Yeah.
You are recreating. So sometimes, let's put the example of Beethoven.
Right.
Beethoven is a composer very difficult to approach because you have, let's say, rules in the Beethoven music. You have to use a small orchestra. You have a very special kind of sound to approach. But at the end, that is very subjective. Because I'm sure it's Beethoven, at his time, he had an orchestra of 150 musicians. For him, you know, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Great. It's a letter by Mozart saying to his father, "Father, I'm so happy because I have an orchestra of 40 violins. I have 8 flutes. I have 14 double basses." And when you play Mozart, when you approach Mozart with a small orchestra.
Yeah.
You know how subjective is that, you know, how he was happy, and how sometimes you try to be, oh my God, no, I cannot go like that because this will not sound. I know that we have the element of the sound that we have to build, but that is the amazing thing of music, the subjective point of music, how different it can be. And in the moment that the composer put the notes there, it's still Beethoven, it's still Mozart, but with the time you are recreating that, and it's still Mozart, but in your own idea, in the idea of the elements that you have in front, the orchestra, because also that is another thing. Orchestras react differently. Every orchestra have a different personality,
yes,
with the sound, with the commitment, with everything. So that is the work of the conductor, how to deal with that, because I cannot go to an orchestra and conduct Beethoven in the same way that I do with the Simon Bolivar Orchestra.
Yes.
You know, it's impossible. Or what I do with Los Angeles Philharmonic, and I go to the Vienna Philharmonic. You have to deal with the tradition, to respect what they have, and to bring your ideas, and to have, you know, like it's a 50-50.
Yes,
you know?
But it means that music can be defined by different conductors and different orchestras. And that's part of the genius of it all. You can hear it in a different way, and at the same time, what that composer has done has to be so extraordinary that it lends itself to that and maintains its original creative impulse.
And even the most amazing thing, that you can play two times Beethoven 5.
Yeah.
The same composer, the same orchestra, the same conductor. You play, and then you play the second time, and it's different. It's a little different.
Even the next night, perhaps.
Even the next night. Even if you are playing in the same night, the same symphony 2 times. Is the ability, and again, the power of the music, to play with that. Subjective. It's so objective.
Yeah.
Because it's music, it's there. You have the paper there, the music. But how can be... You have millions of ways.
What is it that you want to be and accomplish over the next 5 years, say?
Well, it's to go deeply and deeply and deeply in what we do, you know.
So the Beethoven you see 5 years ago may be different than the Beethoven you see today.
But you cannot imagine how different can be. But when I study and I see what I was doing, because I marked my score, I think, oh my God, how I was thinking that 5 years ago. I can be impressed sometimes, you know, for the reaction of what the music was giving to me at that time. But then when I have the score here and I see, well, I didn't saw this, maybe I will bring this, I see, oh, God, this is really difficult. It's going deeply and deeply and deeply and deeply. The develop of the way to think about music. And of course, you know, sometimes people expect for you to be to have the knowledge and the experience of a 50 or 60 years old conductor. Yeah. Sometimes people compare you with Karajan or with Bersen. It's impossible to compare because they are masters, Yeah. And I'm sure when they were young, they were searching, they were, thinking the way that they develop at the end. And it's fascinating because what I see in 5 years in my life, I see my life conducting and trying to understand what I'm doing now and what I will do at that time more deeply.
Daniel Barenboim was a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Simon Rattle was a mentor. They give you what?
Well, they are all different.
Yeah.
Of course, my main mentor is Maestro Abreu.
Yes.
That is my maestro, my teacher. And I learned everything, the structure, the basis of what I'm now, what I do with music. Barenboim have an amazing brain.
Yes, he does.
Incredible way to think, because never you do something and never is not a question there.
Yeah.
Why you do that, Gustavito? He always,
why did you do that?
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
And I say, well, maestro, because that. No, that is not the answer. The answer is this, because this element is with it. His brain structure everything. And that is why he do what he does, He can conduct an opera, then he can play a concert with a piano concerto, and then he can do a conference. It's a special brain. Simon Rattle is a fire.
A fire.
Fire. Amazing. And I'm not saying that Simon he think, but the soul of Simon and the power in his energy. Another one that have been very important for me is Claudio Abbado.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's a magician. His hands and his way to conduct, the simplicity and at the same time the beauty of his hands is amazing. So I'm really thankful to life,
This is simply the cover of Musical America Worldwide, Gustavo Dudamel, Musician of the Year. And this is a CD. Remember those? Called Gustavo Dudamel Discoveries. Continued success. You are a gift for all of us, and I thank you.
Big honor, Charlie. Thank you very much.
Very much.
Huge honor.
See you soon.